Hi, my name is Jeff Michaud,
I'm Brad Spence.
and today we're making homemade pretzels with spicy beer cheese. So it's a little bit of a process to make the pretzels, but they're some of the best pretzels you'll ever eat. The one key ingredient that you need to take a lot of care with is the lye that you use to make the pretzels. If you're not interested in taking that extra step to get that glistening crust on it, you can do it with baking soda. They'll still come out tasty. They just won't be that shiny. But to start off with the lye, you really need these three components: goggles, mask, and gloves. We're gonna suit up.
Now we are ready to make some pretzels.
So you want to take 3 cups of water, and you want to bring that to a boil. And you want to dump the lye into it.
Bubbles up a little bit.
Don't breathe that. We're going to take that and just kind of sit it in this bowl. This bowl is going to be used to dip the pretzels in. So right now we're going to make the pretzel dough. We're going to start with some bread flour. It's got more protein content in it, so it adds, it gives the pretzels more body. You know, most people say to dissolve the dry yeast in a little bit of water, so we're going to do that. We're going to add the sugar in here, some salt, and then some olive oil. All right. Shake the yeast around in the water. We'll add that right to it as well. We use beer to make our pretzel dough. You can use any type of beer you want. We prefer a darker ale. It just adds another layer of flavor to the pretzels. So we're going to turn this on slowly. And when you add the beer in, the recipe always calls for X amount of liquid. You don't want to add it all in, because depending on if the day's hot, if it's cold, if it's humid, if it's dry, that's going to vary. You know, the amount, because if it's dry out, you're going to want to add a little bit more. If it's wet out, you're going to want to add a little less. Okay. You can tell now that you need a little bit more. You know, it's still a little damp, but it's not picking up all the dry pieces on the bottom and the sides of the bowl. So I'm going to add just a little bit more, but you always want to make sure you mix it for the good 7-8 minutes so you get the right stretchiness in the dough.
Yeah. And it'll change in appearance too. It'll almost become a lot more shiny. Right now it's a little bit dull. As you mix it and mix it and mix it, that gluten's going to tighten up and the dough's going to become shiny.
Absolutely. Okay. Put a little bit of flour down when you're working with it. And when I always like to push forward, push in, and then push down again, like that, and then I turn it. Go back in, down.
And this is the same process with any kind of dough, any kind of bread. Same idea, same concept.
So you want to make a nice round ball. You're just going to put this in the bowl. You're going to wrap it loosely with saran wrap. And it's very important to wrap it loosely because you don't want to hinder the ball from expanding. This is going to double in size. So now you just want to set this in a warm place for about 1 to 2 hours until it's doubled.
Okay, so we're going to make a dipping sauce for the pretzels. We're going to make a beer cheese. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take hot beer and pour it over cheese that's been ground up. We got 2 blocks of Philadelphia cream cheese. And then we have some soft cheese here. In this case, we're using Asiago. You could use a younger Pecorino. You could use a younger Provolone. Fontina. But in this case, we're just getting an Asiago that you can get at any grocery store nowadays. And then just cube this up. You want it to be relatively small, because if it's too big and you go to grind it up and then pour the hot beer over it, it's not going to melt. So we're going to put everything in here. You kind of just want to grind it up. So now we're going to add a little bit of cayenne to the cheese. The hot beer, very important, goes right over top. Dump it all in there. And then start slow.
Okay, you want to let that spin for about 3-4 minutes until all the cheese is melted.
So if it's a little bit too thin, add a little bit more cheese. If it's a little too thick, add a little more beer. All right, so this is the consistency we're looking for, though, right there.
I'm going to grab the dough. It's been about 2 hours, and it's doubled in size. You see? You know, you can touch it. It springs back about halfway. You know the dough's done. We're going to start cutting strips out because we're going to make pretzel nuggets. Just use the palms right there in the palm of your hand, and you just want to kind of slowly roll it out into a nice even log, and then you just want to go through and cut little pretzel nuggets out of it. We're gonna soup back up again. So here's our lye. We're gonna add a little more water to it. So I'm gonna take the pretzels and I'm gonna dip them in the lye and put them on the half sheet pan. Make sure you put some kind of pad, a steel pad down, or even like a piece of parchment paper so it doesn't stick to the metal. So one by one, we're just gonna kind of plop these in here. We don't want to soak them in here. And again, if you don't want to go through this whole process, you can use baking soda, but why would you not want to do this? Look at the outfit you get to wear. And, you know, we're wearing these masks and these gloves and the goggles to do this because the lye is very, very toxic, but when you cook it, everything burns off. Don't worry, it'll be fine. So you won't die when you eat these pretzels. Brad's gonna put some Malden salt, or they also sell pretzel salt, which is, a thicker version of kosher salt that you can put on top of the pretzels. You wanna crush the salt a little bit in your hands, kind of sprinkle it right over top. So we're gonna put these in the oven at 425 for about 20 minutes. And about halfway through cooking, you're gonna wanna turn the pan. Perfection. These are better than the Philly vendors. Oh yeah, dude. Look at that. You remember all the liquid that was on there from the lye, and it all burnt off. Don't have to worry about anything. It's got a nice golden sheen. You're gonna have some leftover lye, and with the leftovers you can kind of clean your drains, or break down dead bodies. Yeah, if you're in a part of the world where you need to break down a dead body, you can always use some of that. Pull them apart. Nice and soft on the inside, a little crust on the outside. Yeah, you can smell that beer in the dough. Cheese is looking good. Perfect recipe. Awesome, man. Really good. Thanks for watching us on Dude Food, and stay tuned for the next episode. And make sure you subscribe.
Whoa, toilet brewed fruit wine? Really? Who drinks that? Find out on Why Would You Eat That? Or perhaps balls to the wall deep fried is more to your liking. Yum! Now you can learn all about Rocky Mountain oysters. But if that's just not your culinary style, learn how to make the perfect plate of pasta with star chefs Zach and Steve. Or learn how to make the super granddaddy of mac and cheese on Dude Food, right here on Tasted.